Hello everyone, welcome back to PT-365 Current Affairs series. So let us continue with our environment section. This will be the part 5 video, and I want to tell you that in this video we will end the biodiversity section. So biodiversity section is the most complex section in this environment subject. So once we go past this environment section or biodiversity section, we can skim through this climate change, sustainable development, etc. Those were the easy sections and they will be finished very fast. So like every video, I am giving the due credits to the visionias for this PDF. I am only explaining this for the educational purposes. So if you see in our previous class, we have started this in our previous videos, we have started this biodiversity section and we have almost finished it till this UN High Seas Treaty in this 1.3 wetlands, coastland and oceans. So we have finished this UN High Seas Treaty. So let us continue with this Ramsar Convention on Wetlands. So this topic we have completed in the previous video. So let us continue with the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands. So what is the news first of all? So they are talking about something called Ramsar Convention, very famous convention. And this Ramsar Convention, the members of this Ramsar Convention, when they meet, it is called Conference of Parties, COP. So 15th such conference is happening, and where it is happening? In Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe. So we know the famous Victoria Falls, okay? So it is adjacent to Zimbabwe, and there is a town called Victoria Falls in this Zimbabwe, and this is where this COP15 is happening, and the theme is protecting wetlands for our common future. This is the theme, okay? So let us just see what is Ramsar Convention. It is a very famous one, but especially for the beginners, let me tell you. So there is a convention called Ramsar Convention. It was adopted in 1971 in the city of Ramsar in the country of Iran, and it came into force 1975. What is this convention? It is a intergovernmental treaty. That means the members are countries, governments, intergovernmental treaty for conservation of wetlands and also wise use of wetlands. So here there is a concept called wise use of wetlands. So if you see a statement in prelims like the concept of wise use is associated with, so they will give 3 or 4 organizations. The concept of wise use is associated with Ramsar Convention for wetlands. What is wise use? It is defined as maintaining the ecological character of wetlands using ecosystem based approaches within the context of sustainable development. So this means that, so what is a wetland in the first place? First of all, let me clarify you what is a wetland. So wetlands are these marsh, fen, peatland or water, whether natural or artificial, permanent or temporary, with water. So this is the key focus here. So wetland is an area with water, okay? It is a wet area that is static or flowing, fresh or brackish, salt, including areas of marine water, the depth of which at low tide does not exceed 6 meters. So next keyword is this. So normal dry land, so normal land, whatever we normally use, it is dry land. Then there is a land which is wetland. But what is the difference between oceans, which are also wet, lakes, ponds, rivers, and normal wetlands? The difference is that, first of all, this wetland should have some water, okay? It can be a rice field, it can be a pond. And the difference between wetland and normal water bodies is that the depth of the wetland at a low tide, so it can be marine water also, that means coastal areas also, so does not exceed 6 meters. So if this is the surface, this is the bottom of the wetland, the depth should be less than 6 meters. If it is more than 6 meters, we will call it something else like rivers. If it is a river, it is a river. Okay, more than 6 meters, it is a river. Or a lake. If it is an enclosed one, it can be called a lake or pond, whatever, lagoon. Okay, so a wetland is a watery area with depth of the water at a low tide. So we know high tide, low tide does not exceed 6 meters. Any body, so normal rice field, we have these rice fields. At some point in the cultivation of rice, that field will be filled with water. So it can be also called a wetland. So you can see here, permanent or temporary. That means even at some point in the time, if it is filled with water, it can also be called wetland. So why these wetlands are very important? Because wetlands like this, they will give home to many animals, many species, many birds, many fishes, etc. So it is ecologically very important. That is why wetlands are very important for any ecosystem. So this Ramsar Convention is focusing on these wetlands, okay? And India joined in 1982. So what is the wise use? Wise use means using these wetlands for any purpose, for fishing or for water, for any purpose, use this, but use it in such a way that it maintains its ecological character. That means it does not destroy the wetland. So without destroying the wetland, use sustainably, use in a sustainable way, then it is called wise use, okay? So all the parties who are members to this are mandated to promote wise use of wetlands through national plans, legislation, management actions and public education. So if you are a member to this Ramsar Convention, you are expected to pass national plans, legislations, acts, management actions, public education, etc. Okay. So because India is a member of this, there are some actions expected from India. So what are those? If you see, India has passed something called Wetland Conservation and Management Rules. So we have something called Environmental Protection Act. So under this, to protect environment, we will issue various rules. One of it is Wetland Conservation and Management Rules. So if you want to read some static portion, you can read it here. So this is one action plan by India. Then comes, there is a scheme by the central government, National Plan for Conservation of Aquatic Ecosystems. So here you are having a government scheme where state and center both will share cost to promote wetlands, okay, conservation and restoration of wetlands and lakes. Then there is Amrit Dharohar initiative, okay, to promote sustainable use of Ramsar sites. So there is a dedicated initiative for Ramsar sites also. See, there can be lakhs and lakhs of wetlands in India. So not all wetlands are recognized by this Ramsar Convention. Only some are recognized by Ramsar Convention. So in India there are thousands and thousands of wetlands, but out of this only 98 wetlands are recognized under Ramsar Convention till now. So those which are recognized under Ramsar for promoting sustainable use, this wise use, in these Ramsar sites we have this Amrit Dharohar initiative. Okay, so if you see the total Ramsar sites in India till now is 98. Largest Ramsar site is Sundarban wetland in West Bengal. Smallest is Renuka wetland in Himachal Pradesh. And the most recent one, 97 and 98. Actually this Vision PDF we are seeing, it is from the last year till November I think. So it is not updated. We will see the updated data in the latest updated PDF. But anyway, I am already giving you the update here. So this is the 97th one. This is the 98th one. And the states with the highest Ramsar sites till now is Tamil Nadu. Okay. So this is some static data. So what are the mechanisms under Ramsar Convention? So when something is added under Ramsar Convention, what does it mean? So under this Ramsar Convention, first of all, you have two lists. One is Ramsar list, another one is Montreux record. So Ramsar list means, okay, I am recognizing this wetland. This wetland is very important. I am recognizing this. So it will be added. And I told you already there are 98 wetlands from India. Here it is given 96. But two are recent editions and we are highest in the Asia. Okay, you can see highest in the Asia. So adding means it is adding in this Ramsar list. But there is something called Montreux record. So here among these Ramsar wetlands, those wetlands which are facing severe ecological change due to human interference. Among these wetlands, some are more vulnerable, like they are about to disappear in a few years. So something facing severe ecological change due to human interference, now they will be added. Like those ones which need immediate protection, they will be added in this Montreux record. So in the Ramsar list we have 98, but in the Montreux record currently we have only 2. Like this Keoladeo National Park in Rajasthan and Loktak Lake in Manipur. These two are like, they are facing severe changes due to human actions. So they were added, okay. So in the past, Chilka Lake in the Odisha was also added, but it was removed because we have done some efforts and they have given good results. So now there are only 2 wetlands from India in the Montreux record, but there are 98 in the Ramsar wetlands. So you can read some static portion here, how this Ramsar wetlands selection is done. So you can see here, it is the world's largest network of protected areas. And Ramsar sites, if you want to designate it as a Ramsar site, there is a list of 9 criteria. You have to meet at least 1. Okay, not all 9, at least 1 you have to meet. So like that wetland should be representative of the ecological system. Like if there is a wetland in Amazon forest, very diverse ecological wetland. It represents the Amazon river ecosystem. So like representative, it should be very rare, it should be unique. Example of a natural or near natural wetland type, it should support vulnerable, endangered, critically endangered species or threatened ecological communities, etc. So there is a list of criteria. If you are meeting that criteria, you will be added in this Ramsar list. And if you are facing severe ecological change, then you will be added in the Montreux record also. Then another initiative under this Ramsar Convention is this. So they have something called wetland city accreditation. So cities, now they are talking about cities. So usually we think cities are very dense urban areas where even if there are wetlands, people will usually occupy it, and they will encroach it, and usually no big wetlands will be seen in cities. So this is the common impression, and it is a reality also. So to protect wetlands in the urban areas, to promote this development of wetlands, conservation of wetlands in the urban areas, so Ramsar has come up with an initiative called wetland city accreditation. Okay, so voluntary accreditation system. That means cities or countries will come forward and request Ramsar to certify them. Sir, you are an international authority having some legitimacy. You certify our city as it is conserving wetlands so that world can recognize it. Okay, so voluntary accreditation system that provides an opportunity for cities that value their natural or home-made wetlands. It can be natural or human-made wetlands. Sorry, natural or human-made. Okay, that means if you human-made like means if you build a dam, it will form a reservoir, very big water storage system. It is a wetland. So natural or human-made wetlands to gain international recognition and positive publicity for their efforts. Okay, so it was approved in 2015 Ramsar Convention. So one more point I want to add is that Ramsar Convention is held every 3 years. So you can see here in 2015 this 12th one was convened. So now we are in this COP15. Okay, there may be a 1 or 2 years delay because of COVID, but usually COP15 is conducted every 3 years. Every 3 years. So this wetland city accreditation, if given to any city, it is valid for 6 years. Okay, please remember this because some Indian cities were given this accreditation. I will come back to it. So it is valid for 6 years. Once given, it must be renewed again and again. So they have to fill, there is a criteria for this wetland city accreditation also. These cities which fill this criteria, they will be given. Now, COP15 conducted in this Victoria Falls town. Then they have come up with a declaration. We know when they come up with a declaration, usually they will give the name of the city where this meeting was organized. So there is a Victoria Falls declaration which acknowledges the importance of wetlands. Okay, the roles played by wetlands to the biodiversity, climate change mitigation, and the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So this Victoria Falls declaration acknowledges ecological, social, and economic roles of wetlands, like how they maintain many species ecological, okay, how they give support to many tribes, etc., how they give so much revenue like fishing, etc., to many communities nearby, and how they have under social, you can also think like cultural importance, like some rivers are sacred. So it is highlighting the contribution to biodiversity, climate change mitigation, because many wetlands store carbon in their soil, etc., and sustainable development. So Victoria Falls Declaration is acknowledging the importance of wetlands. So Victoria Falls Declaration is associated with, if such a question comes in prelims, it is associated with wetlands. Then they have come up with a new strategic plan. So every few years they come up with a strategic plan, second strategic plan, third strategic plan, fourth one. So fourth one has ended. Now they are coming up with the fifth strategic plan. And why this strategic plan? To halt and reverse the loss of wetlands across its member state. Because of human development, we are losing so many wetlands. So now they are coming up with the plan to reverse the loss of the wetlands. Then there is an initiative called Indo-Burma Ramsar Regional Initiative Strategic Plan. Okay, so Indo-Burma region means this, not India, this Southeast Asia. Like Indo-Burma region means when French ruled this region, they used to call Indo-Burma, like Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, all of these countries, Cambodia, Laos, this region, Southeast Asia, it used to be called Indo-Burma region. So this Indo-Burma, so they are trying to conserve the wetlands in this Southeast Asia region. So that is why it is called Indo-Burma Regional Initiative, okay, for this period. To support implementation of objectives of strategic plan of this strategic plan in this region. And it is supported by IUCN. See, here we are seeing a coordination between two agencies. One is Ramsar Convention and IUCN. So IUCN has an initiative called Bridge Program. See, there is a Bridge Program of IUCN. See, it is IUCN program. It is not Ramsar Convention. So building river dialogue and governance project. So if you see, this Southeast Asia is very rich in rivers. Okay, like Mekong River. Now we have this Brahmaputra River and many rivers in this region are passing through this region. So this Southeast Asian region, rivers are very important. So like some initiative protecting those wetlands and rivers, etc. So IUCN also has an objective of protecting the nature, and Ramsar Convention also has this objective of protecting the nature with specific focus on this wetlands. So they are doing common initiatives. So under this bridge, which aims to catalyze sustainable development of shared water resources, safeguard water security, conserve biodiversity, promote peaceful cooperation across borders. So this is promoting some sustainable initiatives between different countries in this region, this IUCN bridge initiative. So under this bridge, they are promoting Ramsar Convention also now. Okay. So these are the members, as I told you. Cambodia, these are specific countries, okay, which are in this Indo-Burma regional Ramsar initiative. So now this same bridge program, now they are saying it is also focusing on grants on gender mainstreaming and women leadership. So this bridge program has different kinds of initiatives under it. Name, see the bridge. It is bridging the differences between like what is the present situation and what is the future ideal situation. So they are promoting conservation, they are promoting gender mainstreaming, women leadership, etc. Then there is something called freshwater challenge. What is freshwater challenge? To enhance the implementation of the convention. So to implement this Ramsar Convention in a better way, they are coming up with an initiative called freshwater challenge. So no more information is given here. If you want to know more, you can just Google. Okay. So like why Vision has given only this one? Because question if comes from this particular part, it will come like this. Freshwater challenge recently heard in news is associated with what? Okay, so it is associated with implementation of Ramsar Convention. Okay. Endorsement of establishment of global waterbird estimates partnership. So we are talking about waterbirds. So those birds which are dependent on waters or wetlands. So very closely linked to our wetlands initiative. So this it is under wetland, this global waterbirds estimates partnership. The estimate means they are calculating. Okay. So it is integrating data resources, building monitoring capacity, provide information for conservation agreements to combat global decline of waterbird population and wetland degradation. So they are focusing on something which is very closely linked to wetlands, which is waterbirds. Okay. India's contribution. Now, what is India's contribution towards these areas, wetland conservation, etc.? Promoting sustainable lifestyle for wise use of wetlands resolution in the Mission Life. See, Indian Prime Minister has proposed something called Mission Life. That means how we can make changes in our behavior. Like our behavior causes so much of damage to the climate and atmosphere, like our usage of plastic, our usage of fossil fuels, etc. So it's not some governments only do something that protects the environment. Government of India has come up with a concept called Mission Life, and it is proposing to the world that it's not just government's duty. Every citizen, every person on the planet, through the changes in their behavior, through some pro-planet behavioral changes, they can bring some changes at individual and societal levels which will support overall climate preservation on Earth. And one of the component in this Mission Life is also related to wise use of wetlands. Okay, so we have put up some component for wetlands under this Mission Life proposed by India. Then India also elected as a member of the standing committee for this period 2025 to 28, representing the South Asia region. So under the committees under this convention, we are a member currently till 2028. Then the last initiative we are talking about under Ramsar Convention. So we have something called Wetland City Accreditation. Then Indore and Udaipur. So these two cities came forward and now they have got accredited by Ramsar Convention. They got this accreditation, Wetland City Accreditation. So these two cities are promoting the conservation of wetlands. So in Indore you have Sirpur Lake, which is a Ramsar site in Madhya Pradesh, recognized for waterbird congregation and is being developed as a bird sanctuary. Then we have this Udaipur, which is in Rajasthan. So surrounded by 5 major wetlands. Here you have 5 major wetlands: Pichola, Fateh Sagar, Rang Sagar, Swarup Sagar and Dudh Thalai. So these two cities got this Wetland City Accreditation. Okay, new Ramsar sites. So this is mostly factual part you can see here, but again these are till 96 only. 97 and 98 I have already shown you. Okay, so like one in Gujarat, one in UP. Okay, One in UP, one in Gujarat will be the 97 and 98. Factual, please pause the video and read if you want to read. Anyway, I don't think by hearting all the Ramsar sites is possible. There are 98 Ramsar sites. By hearting each and every Ramsar site is not possible. Get some general data like what I have already given you, like which state is having most Ramsar sites, what are the very recent editions, okay, like which cities got this wetland accreditation. So some kind of information you can by heart. And also I suggest you to read this, okay. This is also mostly factual part. So even if I have to explain this, I have to just plainly read it. Okay, so you can just pause the video and read it. Okay, it is factual. There is nothing to explain in this particular part. So let me tell you here. So apart from these recent editions in this Ramsar Convention, these are recent editions which is being highlighted by this PDF. There are two wetlands which are in news. One is Vembanad Lake. Why this particular wetland is in news? Because it is rapidly shrinking. So its surface area has shrunk by 27% in the period between 1917 and 1919. So this is a concern. And Vembanad Lake, if you see whether it is a freshwater or brackish water means mix of sea and freshwater, seawater and freshwater. That means it is a coastal lake. It's not fully inside the land, inside the country's borders, which makes it a freshwater lake most probably. And if it is not adjacent to the, if it is completely sea, it is fully salty. So something that is between the ocean and the land is brackish. So largest brackish humid tropical wetland ecosystem in Kerala. Supports third largest waterfowl population in India during winter months. So if you see, like there are some wetlands which give home to, like space to some waterfowl. Waterfowl means water birds which come to some wetlands. Like you can take Chilka Lake. Chilka Lake in Odisha is like one of the largest, possibly the largest site with the largest waterfowl population in India. So in some particular wetlands, birds gather during some particular months at a very high numbers. So Vembanad Lake is one such important waterfowl gathering site, which makes it very important to protect it. That means if it is shrinking, many so much biodiversity is getting affected. Okay, many species are being suffered. So Vembanad Col, this Vembanad Lake or Vembanad Col, it is a Ramsar site, and here you have some other areas near it. There is Patiramanal Island, there is Tannirmukkum saltwater barrier located on it. Okay, so forgive my pronunciation. Then there is Dal Lake. So why Dal Lake is in news? First of all, Dal Lake is in Jammu Kashmir, in Srinagar, and on the right bank of the Jhelum River. Okay, on the right bank of the Jhelum River, but it is not being fed by Jhelum River, it is fed by Ara River. Okay, so it is in news because it hosted the first ever Khelo India Water Games. So we have this Khelo India sports for the nation. They have conducted water games in this Dal Lake. It is a natural wetland, includes floating gardens. So you will see floating gardens in this Dal Lake. Okay, so this can be given as a statement in prelims. Then it is fed by Ara River, flows in the northerly extremity through a dark and deep channel called Telbal. So from this Ara River, you have a channel called Telbal which feeds this Dal Lake, divided by causeways into 4 basins. Okay, so this particular lake is divided into 4 basins: Gagribal, Lokdal, Bodal, Nagin, etc. Okay, so factual details. So moving on from Ramsar sites, next topic is coral bleaching. One of the very important topics for UPSC, because UPSC loves these corals, in fact wetlands also. You can see some previous year questions on this. So this is a previous year question given by UPSC on coral reefs. So you can just try to answer it. So coral bleaching, what does coral bleaching mean? So let us answer this question after the discussion. Okay, if you want to try, you can try. So there is something called coral. It is a animal, water-based animal. It is a ocean animal. So this coral on its own, it's just a normal one. Okay, the corals can be soft or hard. Corals, there are two types. One are hard corals, when you touch it is hard skeleton type thing. Then there are soft corals which are like a species rubber like soft ones, soft tissues. Okay, so corals can be hard or soft. So these corals, they have developed a symbiotic relationship. In environment, you will come across something called organism relationship. Okay, organism relationships. So there are many organism relationships. So you will read in environment static part, like there is symbiosis, then there is competition. So there are different type of relationship between different species, like they can both help each other, they can both destroy each other. One can benefit predatorship and other can be destroyed. So there are different type of organism relationships in environment. One of it is symbiosis, where two species live together and both will benefit from each other. So this coral, which is an animal species, it develops a symbiotic relationship with a bacteria. Okay, it is called zooxanthellae bacteria. So this is coral. So coral cannot live completely on its own. So it cannot get food, it cannot directly receive sunlight. It has some issues. Same with this zooxanthellae bacteria. Because it is a bacteria, it will get floated by the water, floated away by the water. So it wants some stable space. So they will help each other. This coral gives stable space to bacteria on its surface. In turn, this bacteria will do photosynthesis with the sun from the water, and it will give the food to the corals. Okay, so they both together will develop this symbiotic relationship. See here, this now corals, they will, this is a coral, now it will reproduce. So new corals will come, they will develop a relationship with this zooxanthellae bacteria, new corals will survive. There is a life cycle. Now, what do we mean by bleaching? So this is the natural state of the coral. See, these are corals. They are like a forest of the ocean. They are very important. They give support to many species, many fishes, many type of animals live in these corals. Corals are very important to the ocean. If something happens to the corals, it will disturb so many species. Okay, so corals are very sensitive. Now the problem is, corals need some condition, like they need some specific temperature. Okay, they cannot live too much above this temperature, too less this temperature. Corals need heat. Okay, they need this sunlight. So these corals, and they are also available in the shore, not too deep. Okay, they are inside the water, but they are within a minimum depth, not too much depth areas you will not find corals. Okay, in adjacent to the shore you will see these corals. So they need some specific conditions so that this symbiotic relationship thrives. Now what happens if something goes wrong, like the temperature of the water gets increased, or if you pollute the water? Okay, if you pollute the water, or the acidity of water gets increased. Nowadays, because of various reasons, there is so much of CO2 in the atmosphere, and all of this CO2 is getting dissolved in the ocean water. So when CO2 gets dissolved in the water, it is called acidification. Okay, it is called acidification. Okay, it is called acidification. So ocean acidification, then this global warming is happening, temperature is increasing, so ocean also warming. So ocean warming, ocean acidification, then pollution, ocean pollution, let me write here. Okay, ocean pollution. So any of these unwanted scenarios will create a disturbance in this symbiotic relationship. So these corals will release the bacteria because conditions are not suitable for it. It cannot survive with the bacteria in this kind of harmful scenarios. So these corals will release the bacteria and they will become full white. It is called bleaching. When this colorful coral, the color given by zooxanthellae bacteria, when this zooxanthellae bacteria, which gives so much color to the corals, now this bacteria gets expelled, then the coral becomes pure white, almost pure white. The symbiotic relationship will disappear, and coral cannot survive on its own fully because it does not evolve like that. It did not evolve like that. So ultimately the coral will die, the ecosystem will die, all the species depending on these corals will die. So it is a very harmful phenomena for the ocean ecosystems. Okay, so you see, corals also very important. Like they will create different type of corals around different type of islands. We'll come to it. So Now we are talking about coral bleaching. So I told you, when something unwanted happens, corals will release the bacteria zooxanthellae. It is called coral bleaching. Now let us see the news first. Now whatever I have told you is already given here. So Australia experiencing record coral bleaching events. Record coral bleaching events as a part of the 4th mass coral bleaching event. So coral bleaching is happening. Now the present event started in 2023. That means for the last 3 years we are seeing a significant increase in this coral bleaching, continuous bleaching of corals, especially around this Australia. Now this is not the first time. This is a mass event, mass coral bleaching event, but it is not the first time. It has already happened in the history many times, 3 times. In 1998, in 2013, etc. So many times we have seen this coral bleaching, but the problem is this is the biggest, this is one of the biggest we are seeing. Okay. So let us see the corals. Okay. Now I told you it is one of the invertebrate animals. They are called coral polyps or corals. They live in symbiotic relationship with this algae called zooxanthellae that provide them with nutrients through photosynthesis. So generally they are classified as hard corals or soft corals. Hard corals build something called reefs. Okay, these are called reefs. Like see, this is the island. So around the island they will create these reef corals. Now this reef, which is consisting of corals, if it is just adjacent to the island land, any kind of land, not just a volcano or island, any kind of land, if it is adjacent, it is called fringing. Okay, it is on the fringes of this land. If it is forming at some distance with the land, that means there is water in between the coral and the land, then it is called barrier reef, because it is forming a barrier around the land at some distance in the ocean. Then if the land gets completely submerged and only the corals are remaining in a circle like a group of islands, it is called atoll. Okay, so there are different types of reefs they form. Now see, unlike hard corals, soft corals do not have calcium carbonate skeletons. So what separates hard corals and soft corals? It is calcium carbonate skeletons. Type of coral reefs. I told you, fringing reef, which are attached to the shores. Barrier reefs, which are separated from the coast by a lagoon. Lagoon means a water body. Atoll reef, which is a ring shaped with central lagoon. So optimal condition for coral formation is this: 23 to 29 degrees temperature, clear and shallow waters, less than 50 meters for sunlight penetration, stable salinity, etc. Coral bleaching occurs when corals are stressed by changes in temperature, light or nutrients and expel symbiotic algae living in their tissues, causing them to turn completely white and die eventually due to loss of nutrient source. So this is what I have told you already. So what is the significance of corals? It supports 25% of all marine species, including filter feeders. Filter feeders means like water, there is a flow of water. So if there is a filter feeder somewhere, it will filter the water and will get the nutrition from it. Okay. Like there are some animals called sponges. So it supports 25% of all marine species and it protects coast from storms. So if you see, so if there is a storm, now these corals are protecting the shore even within the water, inside the water at shallow level, like 30-40 meters inside the water. So they will stop the speed of the storm or waves, etc. So they will prevent erosion of coastal areas. They have economic value with the fisheries, tourism, etc. So now there are some techniques to conserve corals. So in one of the previous year, there is a question: biorock technology is associated with what? Coral preservation. There is a previous year question. Okay, so that is why Vision has given here coral conservation technologies. Biorock technology. It uses electric current to stimulate coral formation with the deposition of calcium carbonate. That means they will pass electric current directly into the seawater. So when seawater receives this electric current, it will release calcium carbonate. Okay, it will release the dissolved calcium carbonate, and this calcium carbonate gets precipitated to the bottom and they will form strong coral-like support. Okay, so they will provide base to the new corals. So this is called biorock technology. So they are forming a biological rock type of thing using new technology. 3D printed reef structures. So see, when you form a base there will be more corals on that. Okay, so that is the intent here. So if there is a good development for the corals, initial corals will develop and they will give base for the new corals. Coral will always develop like this. So there will be one coral. If this is coral, now on this coral, if this is one coral, on this there will be development of another coral. Now these corals will die, but the skeleton of calcium carbonate will be remaining here. Then there will be new corals on it, new corals on it, new corals on it. So almost it will form like island over the years. So this is how corals develop. But when there are no good conditions for the development of corals, the base will not form and there will be no new formation of corals. So they are forming the base or support for corals using different kinds of technologies like biorock or 3D printed reef structures, etc. And then you can take the coral species and preserve it for the future, coral cryopreservation. So coral cryopreservation means that here you are preserving both are similar technologies. Cryo means at low temperature like 170, 180, minus 170, 180, that kind of temperature. So you are preserving coral sperm, coral larva, etc. Okay, coral eggs, that kind of things for future. So that in future, if you want to regenerate coral species, you can regenerate. Okay, to preserve coral biodiversity for freezing coral seeds. This is the coral cryopreservation. Now, if you see the natural distribution of corals across the world, so globally they are mostly located in tropical waters. Okay, that means this between this Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. More than 1/3 located in Australia, Indonesia, and Philippines. See here, they have given the map: Australia, okay, Philippines, Indonesia. So this coral triangle is hosting 1/3 of corals of the world. And there is a world largest coral reef system. It is Great Barrier Reef in Australia. See here you will see beside Australia, you will see something called Great Barrier Reef. It is the world's largest coral reef system. In India, you will find corals in Andaman Nicobar group of islands, Lakshadweep, Gulf of Kutch, Gulf of Mannar, which is between India and Sri Lanka, Pak Bay, India and Sri Lanka, Malwan in Maharashtra. Okay, so these are some areas where you will see corals in India. Now there is something called coral triangle, Amazon of the seas. So this is the coral triangle between this Philippines, Indonesia, and Australia. It is the world's richest marine biodiversity hotspot. So it is a marine biodiversity hotspot. So if you see equatorial rainforests, okay, evergreen forest on land, they will hold the maximum biodiversity when you commit on the land. So I told you these corals are like, they are like forests of the ocean. So this coral rich area, it is the richest marine biodiversity hotspot in the ocean. Okay. Now we have completed with this coral bleaching also. Just let us see this POQ. So most of the world's coral reefs are in tropical waters. Yes. More than 1/3 of world coral reefs are located in the territories of Australia, Indonesia, Philippines. Yes. Coral reefs host far more number of animal phyla than those hosted by tropical rainforest. Yes. So D 1 to 3. So next question, sustainable aquaculture in mangrove ecosystem. They are talking about something called SAIME initiative. So sustainable aquaculture in mangrove ecosystems model developed by Nature, Environment and Wildlife Society has received global technical recognition from the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization. See, there is a recognition from this Food and Agriculture Organization. It is an international agency. Now it was received by this Nature, Environment and Wildlife Society. What is this? Nature, Environment and Wildlife Society. It is an NGO. It is an NGO in India. And they have developed a model which is promoting aquaculture in mangrove ecosystems. Okay. So first you should know what is a mangrove. Mangrove is a salt tolerant plant community. So mangroves are plants. They are salt tolerant. That means they are living in this brackish regions between land and the ocean, where freshwater and seawater meet. They are found in tropical and subtropical intertidal regions. That means region between this high tide and low tide, you can find these mangroves. and they need very high rainfall and high temperatures. Okay, so you see they have some unique root systems such as pneumatophores, prop, stilt roots. So I could not add the image here. So see, pneumatophores means these are some roots. They will be, roots are inside the floor, inside the land soil. So from inside the soil, pneumatophores come again like this. So if you see, if this is the soil, this is the surface. Now this is a mangrove tree. This is a mangrove tree. So now you will see the roots, these roots of the tree, they want to breathe. Because this is a wetland area. Mangroves are living brackish water. So they want to breathe. So these roots usually come out like this. Okay, they will not be having proper conditions to get the oxygen from the soil like normal roots, because this area is different. Roots will come out of the water surface like this. They are called pneumatophores. Then because there is continuous movement of water, these mangroves usually does not support proper support. So they will develop these roots like this. Okay, so they are called prop roots. See, this is the branch I'm talking. This is the land. So above land they will develop the roots. Some roots will develop above the land. They are called prop roots. Then still the support is not enough. So from the tree top area, from these leaves and top branches, some roots will directly go to the soil, to the surface, to give extra support to the tree. Now these are called stilt roots. Okay, so props, stilts, pneumatophores. Okay, so pneumatophores and prop, stilt roots. Okay, they are viviparous. So if you see, normally all the species will have two types, oviparous and viviparous. So viviparous means for a plant species, like humans are viviparous. We don't lay egg. Ovi means egg. Okay. So they are viviparous means seeds germinate while they are still on the maternal plant. So seeds already germinate on the plant itself, then they will be distributed. Seeds are not distributed. Germinated plants will be distributed, so that, because if seeds are distributed in this brackish water, inside the water, they will not have proper conditions to grow. So they will already grow, then they will be distributed so that it is ready to grow in the difficult conditions of this brackish water. So what is the significance of these mangroves? It is nature's carbon vault. That means they store 7.5 to 10 times more carbon per acre than tropical forest. So they store more carbon. We know too much carbon in the atmosphere is a big issue for us. So we need systems that store so much of carbon. Okay, we have seen this carbon capture and utilization technologies, etc. So these mangroves are very important because they store more carbon. They provide critical habitat for nursery for fish, crabs, etc. So they will host many animals like fish and crabs. They are kidneys of nature because they filter sediments. So water passes through them, they filter the water. So they are kidneys of nature, natural shields against extreme weather events. So if these are mangrove trees. This is ocean. This is brackish area. This is the land, normal land, houses, etc. So these mangroves, they protect us from storms, okay, tsunamis, etc. They will give first layer of protection. Okay, so they are natural shield against extreme weather events, prevent erosion and stabilize coasts, etc. Okay, so if you see the mangroves in India, we have almost 4,996 square meters of total mangrove cover. It is 0.15% of country's total geographical area. There is a report called India State of the Forest Report. It is conducted every 2 years. So this Indian State of Forest Report 2025, please be updated before prelims. If it comes out 2025 report, you should be ready with the latest data. But if you go by 2023 data, it is 0.15%. So India recorded a 11.4% net increase in mangrove cover between 2001 and 2023. So we are seeing a net increase. So this can be a statement. The mangrove cover, we have seen an increase. This can be a statement in itself. Then West Bengal holds the largest share of India's mangroves, followed by Gujarat, Andaman Nicobar Islands, etc. So most mangroves we are seeing in West Bengal. Sundarban mangroves on the delta of Ganga, Brahmaputra and Meghna rivers. So this Meghna river is in Bangladesh. On the Bay of Bengal are the only mangrove forest globally to harbor significant tiger population. So in this Sundarban mangroves, you will see significant tiger population. So tigers are very important for ecosystems, mangroves are very important for ecosystems. So these Sundarbans are very important for India because it is hosting so much of biodiversity. Then some regional initiatives for protection of mangroves. So in addition to the what is government of India doing, some NGOs are doing, there are some like TN Shore. TN Shore means Tamil Nadu protecting its mangroves. It is funded by World Bank, designed to strengthen Tamil Nadu's coastal economy and resilience. Okay, so now let us come back to the news. So I told you once again, there is a NGO called Nature, Environment and Wildlife Society. It is developing a method called Sustainable Aquaculture and Mangrove Ecosystems. Now you know what are mangroves. In these mangroves, they are promoting aquaculture. Okay, that means cultivation of fish, shrimps, etc. Okay, so they are promoting shrimp trade here. Okay, protecting the mangroves. It's not like, see, if you do natural fishing or natural shrimp cultivation, naturally, if you use these fertilizers, all these steroids, etc., in normal methods humans do, if you do, mangroves will be destroyed. But this NGO is particularly promoting a natural model which benefits these farmers who are doing this shrimp cultivation, and also it is promoting the conservation of the mangroves. So that is why they got this special recognition. So this SAIME, they are working in Sundarbans. They are aiming to build a resilient ecosystem, standardizing a practice of culture methodology for brackish water aquaculture. So they are developing this shrimp culture in this brackish water of mangroves. And who are giving the funding for this initiative? The funding is coming from 3 agencies: Global Nature Fund, Natureland EV, Mercedes-Benz. Okay, these 3 are funding. These 3 organizations, international organizations, funding this initiative. Operationalizing the integrated mangrove aquaculture, which aims to promote extensive culture of low stocking density with no additional feed input. See, they are developing it in an integrated way. That means optimizing all the stages in the process. Then extensive culture of low stocking density, like density of shrimp they are talking. So if there is a mangrove area, like there are some 50 mangrove trees and there is water, brackish water. Now this is the land, this is the brackish water. Now in this mangrove area, if you cultivate too many shrimps, now again it will harm, because there is too much competition. Shrimps need feed, so you have to add artificial feed. When you add artificial feed, then chemicals come into the picture. Now it becomes normal farming, which is very not good to the environment, which is harmful to the mangroves. So what they are doing, they are developing a culture methodology, that means cultivation of shrimp. Shrimps are low in density, they will add very less number, so that the natural, whatever the natural resources already in the water, it is enough. There is no competition, no need to add from outside. Okay, in this way, this natural wastage released by this shrimp, etc., they may be useful to the mangroves as a fertilizer. Okay, so they are developing in an ecological way. Low stocking density with no additional feed input. So this also completes this present topic. Now let us see some important related news. Related news to this: wetlands, islands, natural water bodies, etc. So coastal areas, etc. So island protection zone. Why it is in news? Because see, India has something. We have this Environment Protection Act. I told you, Government of India releases different kinds of rules. Like now we have seen this wetland conservation rules under this Environment Protection Act. So to protect the environment, government comes with different kinds of rules, whatever necessary. So in 2011, government has come up with basically 2 types of rules. One is coastal regulation zone rules. Then there is island protection zone rules. So 2 types of rules. Coastal regulation zone means the coastal area of India. So we have this mainland India, the Indian peninsula, which is an extensive coastal area. For that coastal area, for the protection of coastal area, we have coastal regulation zone. Then we have islands also, Andaman, Nicobar, Lakshadweep, etc. For the protection of island, we have island protection zone rules under this Environment Protection Act. So in that they will put some rules like you cannot build a tall building within half kilometer from the coastal area. You cannot establish a chemical factory within half kilometer from the beach area, etc. So there will be some rules which everyone has to follow to protect the environment. So in 2011, under this 2011 rules, they have approved some infrastructure projects according to the guidelines. Now the validity of the infrastructure projects they have extended. So news itself is not important. The framework behind it, these coastal regulation zones, island protection zones, and the act, these are the important ones. Okay. So what is this IPG, Island Protection Zone, is a regulatory framework to safeguard the ecological integrity of Andaman and Nicobar Islands, okay, and Lakshadweep group of islands. So it is similar to this coastal regulation zone, but this coastal regulation zone is for coastal areas of mainland India. Okay. So this integrated protection zone, it includes island coastal regulation zones, okay, for Middle Andaman, North Andaman, South Andaman, Little Andaman, etc. It is also including integrated islands management plans. Okay. So this is about the island protection zone. Now coming to something called United Nations Forum on Forest. So we know, first of all, I will come in order. So we have something called United Nations. Under United Nations, we have many organs, you know. So there is an organ, United Nations Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC. It has made a resolution in 2000, okay, and it has established something called United Nations Forum on Forests. Okay, so it is a forum. They will discuss on forest for conservation of forest. Okay, to promote the management, conservation, sustainable development, all type of forest, and reinforce the long-term political commitment. Okay, so its membership includes all UN member states and specialized agencies. Now, what is the present news? It's a simple meeting, 20th session of the United Nations Forum on Forest in New York. It is in New York, reaffirming its commitment to United Nations Strategic Plan for Forest 2017 to 2030. So there is something called UN Strategic Plan for Forest, and it is for the period 2017 to 2030, and it is being implemented by this United Nations Forum on Forest, which is formed by this United Nations Economic and Social Council. So that is the news. So moving on, there is something called UN Ocean Conference. Okay, so there is a UN Ocean Conference which is meeting for the third time. It is meeting in the nice city of this France, and it is co-hosted by France and Costa Rica. Costa Rica is a Central American country. So they have adopted something called Nice Ocean Action Plan. Nice Ocean Action Plan. Now this is the third one. The first conference was held in 2017 and second in 2022. So every 4 or 5 years they are meeting. So key highlights of this action plan is working towards successful conclusion and implementation of the international agreements such as High Seas Treaty. So in our previous video, this is what we have seen. This BBNJ agreement is our previous topic. We have already seen it in the previous video. So now they are also, one of the theme of this ocean conference is to successfully implement it. Then SDG 14, life below water, to implement this particular SDG, to promote a sustainable blue economy, okay, to promote marine science knowledge, okay, for policy making, etc. And they are also supporting the creation of International Panel of Ocean Sustainability. So basically it is all about sustainable usage of oceans, okay. And they are in this conference, in this new action plan, they are reaffirming the commitment to develop internationally legally binding instrument on plastic pollution. So we know we are polluting the whole earth with plastic, but one of the big issues with plastic pollution is that it is threatening all of the aquatic species. So much plastic is going into the oceans, and they are harming these ocean animals in a very big way. So legally binding instrument on plastic pollution is something they are working on. Okay, and I told you there is climate, global warming, etc. impact, ocean warming. Then there is ocean acidification impact, which I have explained you in just a few minutes back. Okay, so these are all about ocean conference. Next is International Blue Flag Certification. See, let me tell you very simply. So we have beaches, we have coastal areas which are used for tourism and conservation, etc. So we have these beaches. Now there is something called a Foundation for Environmental Education in Denmark. Okay, Foundation for Environmental Education in Denmark. And since 1995, what it is doing? It is giving something called Blue Flag Certification to these beaches of various countries, which are maintaining high cleanliness, high beauty, aestheticness, environmental sustainability. So without harming the environment, if someone is maintaining aesthetic, clean beaches, promoting tourism, etc., they are giving a special certification called Blue Flag Certification by this agency in Denmark. Now it has become something very popular. So many beaches in India are getting it. Okay, right now we have 18 such beaches in India which are having this international blue flag certification, and highest number of beaches having this certification are in Maharashtra. So 5 Maharashtra beaches recently were given this blue flag certification. That is the news. Okay, Shrivardhan, Nagavan, Parnaga, Guhagar, Lagdar, etc. They have received this blue flag certification. So I told you it is a ecological label awarded to beaches, marinas, tourism boats. It can also be given to tourism boats, you see. The requirements are very rigorous, like accessibility, education, environmental performance, responsible behavior, safety services, stakeholder engagement, water quality, etc. So they have to take care of all these things. Those beaches, beach organizers, when they promote these things, then they will give the certification. Now we are talking about an initiative called Food and Agriculture Organization called Aim for Nature. See, they have launched this Aim for Nature on 22nd April, which is called the Earth Day. Okay, let me tell you first something. So there are two initiatives which are similar in hearing. So to prevent the confusion, I have given both at one place. You will be hearing these two a lot every year. Then they are similar. So let me tell you, there is something called Earth Day, there is something called Earth Hour. So both are to promote awareness on environmental protection. But Earth Day is organized by an agency called, by a organization called earthday.org. Okay, previously it used to be called Earth Day Network. Now they are calling themselves earthday.org. And they have declared April 22 as Earth Day. It is a day to remember our duty towards the earth. Okay, we are celebrating it from 1970. It is a global event throughout the world to promote the environmental protection. And the day is fixed here. Earth Day is fixed on April 22. Now the organizer here is earthday.org. See here, there is another initiative called Earth Hour. It is Earth Day is full day. It is just an hour. It is celebration of an hour. Now who is organizing this? World Wildlife Fund. Okay, World Wildlife Fund. It is also a global movement. Now what we will do in this Earth Hour? Here we will celebrate a full day to recognize our duty towards the earth. Here what we will do? For 1 hour, many people across the world turn off their lights. Okay, as a movement, as a symbol to recognize our duty towards the environment. Okay, here there is a specific event of turning off lights for 1 hour, and it is organized by World Wildlife Fund. It is held on the last Saturday of March since 2007. Okay, so it is latest one, and there is no fixed day. Last Saturday of March. So ending of the financial year, last Saturday. So they are coming up with this Earth Hour initiative. Now we are talking about Earth Day. In the past, on an year, 22nd April, this Food and Agriculture Organization, it has launched something called Aim for Nature, Accelerating Innovative Monitoring for Nature Restoration. It is for nature restoration. Aim is to improve monitoring and reporting of global ecosystem restoration efforts. So we are doing so many restoration efforts across the world for forest, for wetlands, for many things, for animals, etc. So to monitor and report those things, we are developing a new Aim for Nature. So this initiative, how it monitor, how it report, it uses cutting edge technology, standardized data frameworks, okay, capacity development to restore at least 30% of degraded ecosystems by 2030. See, let me tell you, there is something called Global Biodiversity Framework. So I told you, we have this something called UNCBD. We have seen already in the previous class, United Nations Convention for Biological Diversity. So under this UNCBD, this COP, like conference parties, they will meet regularly. So I think in 2022, they have adopted something called Kunming. Kunming is a city in China. Montreal is a city in Canada. So like they are co-host, China and Canada, they have together organized an event on CBD. So they have developed a framework called Kunming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. Okay, Global Biodiversity Framework. They have come up with a plan for the world, and it talks like this: like by 2030, we have to protect 30% of our animals and plants. So we are losing at a rapid pace. So by 2030, we should protect at least 30%. I mean more in the future years. Then we are seeing a rapid desertification, like degradation of land. So much of land is being degraded. Forests are being cut, they are converted into agriculture. Agriculture is being cut, and now it is becoming a plain area. Now then slowly it is becoming a desert. This is called degradation of land. So we have to prevent this degradation of land again. 30% of the land we have to prevent degradation by 2030. So it will have some targets like this, 30 by 30, etc. So under this global biodiversity framework of Kunming Montreal, we have some targets like this. Now it is talking about that target. So this FEO, this aim for nature, is also monitoring that kind of target, okay, like to restore 30% of degraded ecosystems by 2030 as outlined in the target 2 of global biodiversity framework, okay. So this FAO has a program called Aim for Forest. So this FAO has some initiatives like Aim for Forest, Aim for Climate, etc. So in this Aim for Forest, this Aim for Nature is a subcomponent, okay. So this Aim for Nature is a part of Aim for Forest program. Now there is something called Central Asian Mammals Initiative. So we have these Central Asian countries, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, okay. So these Central Asian countries have come together under this Central Asian Mammals Initiative to protect 17 shared species like saiga, bucara deer, etc. So there are some animals which are common to them and which are very important to them. So those countries came together and now they are promoting an initiative to conserve those animals. Okay, they may not be important to other countries like China or India, but they are very important to them. So they are coming up with a new initiative for them. So this is not a new initiative. Sorry, it was launched in 2014 at the 11th meeting to this Convention on Conservation of Migratory Species of Wild Animals. So in the world, at global level, there is a Convention on Conservation for Migratory Species. Migratory species means those species which move from one area to another area. There may be turtles in the ocean, there may be birds in the air, or there may be animals in the land which move between countries. So migratory species means those species which move from one place to another place, especially between countries. So for this species of transboundary movement, we had a international convention on Conservation of Migratory Species of Wild Animals. So in this meeting in 2014, these countries have formed this initiative. So to coordinate conservation efforts for 17 key migratory mammals. Okay, not very important from India perspective. Okay. Now the next news is talking about 2 new mushrooms found in Telangana. Okay, so there is something called, first see, there is something called blue pink gill mushroom. It is actually native to New Zealand. Okay, then there is shuttlecock mushroom. Normally it is found in Western Ghats and Western India. Now it is found in Eastern Ghats in Telangana. Then this blue pink gill mushroom, which is native to New Zealand, now it is seen in this Telangana. So see here, blue pink gill shuttlecock mushroom. See here, this is blue pink gill mushroom. See here, shuttlecock mushroom. It is looking like a shuttlecock that badminton we play. Okay, so these 2 mushrooms are found in Telangana recently, so that is why they are in news. See the pigment color, blue color. So they are saying this blue color comes from a pigment called azulene. Okay, it is very rare in fungi. It may be common in flowers, but for a fungi, this azulene pigment, this blue color is very rare. It is spotted in Kadamba Forest Reserve Forest and other areas of Kagasnagar Forest Division, known for its rich monsoon driven fungal diversity. So where is this Kadamba Reserve Forest or Kagasnagar Forest Division? Both are in Telangana. Okay, news is because they are found in Telangana. Shuttlecock mushroom recorded in Kaval Tiger Reserve. Again, where is this Kaval Tiger Reserve? It is in Telangana. Okay, it is the first confirmed sighting in Eastern Ghats. They are already seen in Western Ghats, Western India, but in Eastern Ghats it is the first time. So this shuttlecock mushroom, it has a crisscross lattice structure, helps release spores into the air. Okay, so now next talking about AV list. See, it is in the name. Okay, so avian species means birds. So AV list means they are making a list of birds. Okay, it is a unified global checklist of bird species to aid effective bird conservation. See, there are different organizations across the world. They are working for conservation of different kind of bird species, but they are working individually, separately, not integrated. Now they are coming together. Okay, they are coming together. BirdLife International, Cornell Lab of Ornithology, American Ornithologist Society, International Ornithologist Union, etc., AVBase. So they are all coming together and they are forming a new initiative which is a global checklist of bird species. It is called AV list. It is a list of bird species across the world. Okay, it will replace the International Ornithological Committee and Clements list. So there is something called this International Ornithological Committee and Clements list. Now it is replaced by this AV list, and now this is updated annually. Okay. So more data, more conservation. Now let us see this conservation reserve issue. So if you see, there is something called Hasargata. I will come to the news. See here, Hasargata grassland. Now there is also called Hasargata lake. So it is near Bengaluru in Karnataka. In Karnataka near Bengaluru, around the Hasargata lake, there is a Hasargata grassland. So grassland means not to desert, not to forest, an area in the middle. Okay, plain area with trees. So this grassland is one of the last remaining grasslands in this region. Okay, so grasslands are open region dominated by grass and characterized by warm dry climate, are one of the most widely distributed terrestrial biomes. So in this Hasargata grassland, you will also see the catchment of the Arkavati river. That means Arkavati river gathers its initial waters from this region. Then there is Tippanagundahali reservoir, and we already know here there is Hasargata lake. So there is something called Hasargata grassland in this near Bengaluru region of Karnataka. Now what is the news? State government of Karnataka has notified this Hasargata grassland conservation reserve. Okay, so they have declared this grassland as a conservation reserve. Okay, so we have this Wildlife Protection Act. We already know under this Wildlife Protection Act, I think in previous classes also we discussed. So we have this Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Under this Wildlife Protection Act, we can declare national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, okay, conservation reserves and community reserves. Okay, these four under Wildlife Protection Act. So most significant role is of state government. Both central and state governments can declare. So state governments plays an important role. Here you can see state government of Karnataka declaring this Hasargata grassland as a conservation reserve. Okay. So what is this conservation reserve? It is a protected area under Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Can be declared by both state and central government to protect the landscapes, seascapes, flora and fauna. Typically act as buffer zones to migration corridors or connectors, okay, between established national parks. So like if there is a larger national park or wildlife sanctuary, this conservation reserve usually acts as a connector. Okay, migration corridor, species from this region can move to this region can move to this region. So it connects and acts as a migration corridor between two larger biodiversity areas. Okay. So Conservation Reserve Management Committee appointed by state government advises Chief Wildlife Warden. So under this Wildlife Protection Act, you will have a Chief Wildlife Warden for every state. So decisions will be taken by him, management will be done by him, but he will be assisted by this Conservation Reserve Management Committee. So that is the news. Moving on to the next one. Global Ocean Darkening. See, this kind of topics very important for prelims. They will ask question like this. What is Global Ocean Darkening? So let me tell you. So we have this ocean area. So this is the surface sea level. So there is sunlight. Now how deep sunlight usually penetrates? That is the question. So usually speaking, it reaches up to 200 meters only. So usually in the ocean, up to 200 meters, you will face this sunlight. This is called euphotic zone. Okay, here you will have sunlight. This is sunlight zone. Sunlight rarely penetrates beyond this zone. Then beyond this 200 meter zone, so there is a rapid sunlight decrease. So almost no sunlight, but it is still better. Some things can be seen, but photosynthesis is not possible here. It is called dysphotic zone. Okay, there may be very tiny sunlight, but usually does not penetrate. If you go beyond 1000 meters, you cannot see anything. It is completely aphotic zone. Sunlight does not penetrate. It is fully dark zone. So you can find a different kind of species at different zones, but most species live in between the surface and 200 meters areas. We already know corals also live around 50 meters depth. Okay, so you can see here, this is how the ocean is divided into different layers. Now, because of human pollution, etc. See, this surface up to 200, we are receiving sunlight. Now, this water we are polluting. Now, as a phenomena, these species in here, they are not receiving effective sunlight. See, this species is receiving sunlight. Now, but we are polluting the surface, etc., like oil spill or some pollution, anything we are polluting. Now, the sunlight is naturally not reaching to these 200 meters also like it used to. Previously, there was more sunlight, but with human initiatives, the amount of sunlight is also reducing. This is what we are calling ocean darkening. Okay, so global ocean darkening. So, news is that there is a study, it has found out that 21% of global ocean area, so of all the total surface global ocean area, 21% of the ocean has become darker between 2003 and 2022, especially in the Arctic in the north, Antarctic in the south, and Gulf Stream region. Okay, so Gulf Stream means it is adjacent to the North America, right side of the North America we call Gulf Stream. So what is darkening of the ocean? It refers to reduction in light penetration into the global ocean, shrinking the photic zone. This photic zone is the sunlit layer about 200 meter in depth, where most marine life, almost 90% of marine life lives in this photic zone. So what are the reasons? So if you see in the coastal oceans adjacent to the land, so release of nutrient, organic material, sediments, etc., agriculture runoff, increased rainfall. So if you see the, like if this is the ocean, this is land, another example I'm saying. So if there is too much rainfall, because we are changing the climate basically, now there is too much rainfall on the land, so all of the sediments from here, all of the sand, all of the soil, it will get flushed into the ocean, it will be flown into the ocean. So too much rainfall is also decreasing the sunlight penetration in the ocean. Okay, what about in open oceans which are not adjacent to the land? So warming of the surface oceans leading to algal bloom. So we are creating global warming. Earth is warming, so water is also warming. When water is warming on the surface, algae, they are rapidly reproducing. So we are seeing a bloom in the algae. So these climate driving changes are resulting in some surface changes, and they are also changing the circulation pattern. So these are the reasons for darkening of the ocean. So what is the impact? It limits the ocean productivity by limiting light dependent processes like reproduction, photosynthesis, etc. Declining fish stocks impacts fisheries industries, affects climate regulation. So it is impacting us in many ways. It is reducing the ocean productivity, it is reducing the fish stocks, etc. Now coming to the next interesting topic, what is environmental DNA? So environmental DNA, so if you ask me, so we have traditional, see now let's say there is a forest. In this forest there are tigers or elephants or any animals. Now you have to calculate for some reason. For conservation we need numbers, we need data, we need to understand reality for better plans. So now you want to calculate all the animals in this forest. Previously how we used to do? We used to go manually. We used to look for marks like pug marks of tiger, that footprints of tigers, okay, elephant dungs, etc. So or direct sightings, hiding in some tree and seeing the animals, etc., identifying different animals by their stripes, etc. So there is so much physical activity, physical monitoring. We need to manually calculate each and every animal. Traditional methods. Now they are coming up with something called environmental DNA. Okay, what is environmental DNA? So environmental DNA means we have DNA in all of the species, like our hair, our nails, okay, feces of any animal, anything that can be left behind by any animal has some trace of DNA in it. So instead of directly searching the animal, now we have advanced DNA identifying technologies. Few years back we cannot identify a species by its DNA, environmental DNA, but now we can identify any animal by any trace it leaves. One small hair falls from an animal. Now we can identify that particular individual animal. Okay, so how this new technology is helpful for us? Like imagine there is a lake where most animals from this forest will come and drink water here. So instead of throughout forest you are manually calculating, gather all the DNA, all the different water, just grab some 10 liters of water from this lake, because most of the animals come here. Most of the animals you can identify from the traces they leave in this water. This is called environment DNA. Okay, so environment DNA, scientists are now focusing on modern tools like environment DNA analysis for biodiversity conservation. So it is a genetic material like DNA from cells, tissues, fluids, excrement left by organisms in the environment, water, soil, air, etc. So mapping species presence and distribution, tracking ecosystems, etc. Significance non-invasive. You don't have to trap the animal, take its some particular body part or some fluids from its body, etc. So non-invasive, highly sensitive, rapid and cost effective compared to other biomonitoring methods. Okay, so traditional biomonitoring methods I told you. So compared to them, environment DNA is a very advanced one. So these kind of new terms are very important for prelims. Then comes the blue washing. So what is blue washing? See, there are some terms like green washing, blue washing, pink washing, okay, purple washing. So you will see many terms. Okay, please Google all of them. Let me just limit myself to blue washing. So what is green washing? Green washing means something that is not environmental friendly but being projected as environmental friendly. Okay, so something that is not environmental friendly. So environmental friendly means, like, say, I am not using fossil fuels to generate electricity. I am using solar panels for generating electricity. It is an environmental friendly measure. If something contains plastic, but I say it does not contain any plastic, so I am projecting it as an environmental friendly one, but in reality it is an environmentally harmful one. So this is called green washing. So what is blue washing? So blue washing means it is related to ethics, etc. Remember UN logo, you can see all UN organizations logo is in blue color. Why? Because it is benefiting for it is doing work for the human collective good. Okay, it is promoting the ethics and values of collective human wellness. So blue color is associated with collective welfare and ethics, etc. So someone who is not working towards these human collective goals and ethics, etc., but projecting themselves like they are benefiting the human societies, it is called blue washing. Okay, blue washing. Like then pink washing, purple washing. Like, I mean, these terms, like someone who is not helping gender equality, but they are promoting themselves as working for gender equality, etc. You will come across such kind of terms. Okay. So pink washing is here given, it is as LGBTQ rights. That means, so let me tell you, purple is for gender. So purple washing means someone is not working for gender equality, promotion of gender equality, but they are projecting themselves as they are working for gender equality. It is called purple washing. Pink washing, someone who is not working for a promotion of LGBTQIA plus interests, but they are projecting as they are pro LGBTQIA1. Okay, so it is called pink washing. So green washing, blue washing, pink washing, purple washing. So here they are saying, to counter the greenwashing allegations, waste to energy industry seems to have adopted blue washing. Like there are some waste to energy plants which take waste and convert into energy. So in the process, they will also burn the waste and like pollute the environment. So many people are saying, you are saying I am removing the waste from the environment, I am protecting the environment, but you are burning the waste, you are polluting the environment using the waste. So it is called greenwashing, we know. So now they are changing some tactics in the marketing where they are saying we are very ethical and responsible in our business practices. So they are changing their marketing tactics. They are projecting it like they are benefiting the societies when they are not. Okay, so it is called blue washing. So green washing I told you, pink washing I told you. Okay, moving on to functional de-extinction. Very, very important topic. Okay, very interesting topic. See, there are some species like now functional de-extinction. If I have to tell in one word, take the example of Jurassic Park. So what is shown in the Jurassic Park movies is functional de-extinction. Okay, there are some species which gone extinct. They are no more on this planet. Like there is something called dire wolf. It has gone extinct. There is something called woolly mammoth, not natural, normal present elephant, very big woolly elephant called woolly mammoth. So there is a dodo bird. So there are some species which have gone extinct. Now, if you using some methods, we can get their DNA, like some samples, etc. Samples inside the earth, etc. Somehow, if you use a new technologies, genetically advanced technologies, and you create a new species which is very close to them, almost like the old ones, then it is called de-extinction. Now you are bringing, almost it is like bringing them back. So it is de-extinction. Okay. So if you create a new animal which plays the same functions as they used to play at one time, it is called functional de-extinction. Okay, like every animal has some functions. So in the past, these animals like woolly mammal, it is usually seen in the cold ice areas. You see these ice age animated movies, etc. There woolly mammals are shown. So these woolly mammals have some particular role to play in this ice age areas. Like they used to compress the ice, so ice will not melt. But now there are no woolly mammals, so ice is slowly melting away. If you can bring back something like woolly mammoth, which can again very huge and compress the ice, now the melting of glaciers may somewhat controlled. So now this is an example of how de-extinction, functional de-extinction can benefit biodiversity and humans. So now they are working for it. Okay, so what is functional de-extinction? It is focusing on reviving ecological roles and traits of extinct species. Revived organisms may not be exact replicas, but they are very close. They closely resemble extinct species in form or function. Okay, because why it is possible now? Because we have new technologies like CRISPR, gene editing, cloning, genome mapping, etc. So a US biotech company, Colossal Biosciences, claims to have genetically engineered 3 grey wolf pups carry traits of extinct dire wolf, calling it the world's first successful functional de-extinction. It simply put, a kind of Jurassic Park coming true, but a smaller version, a reality version. So what are dire wolves? They are canines that dominated the southern Canada and US before they went extinct about 13,000 years ago. So some other animals planned for a functional de-extinction: woolly mammoth, moa, thylacine, dodo, etc. Okay, so moving from this topic to next topic. Next topic is about ungulates. Okay, so why it is first of all, let's see what are ungulates. So ungulate means, see, they are hoofed animals. Hoofed animals, like, see, some animals have claws, like cats, tigers, lions. They have claws. Okay, for various reasons, they have evolved claws so that when they attack a predator, if a lion attacks a deer, it wants to catch the deer with its claws. So it has sharp claws. Then there are ungulates. Okay, usually these claws having animals are meat-eating animals. Okay, they are carnivores. You can see ungulates, almost all of the ungulates are vegetarian animals. Okay, they are herbivores. They do not kill other animals. They are the prey to omnivores. Now their target is to run away from the predators. So all of these animals, they want to run away from these tigers, etc. Tigers, lions, etc. So their intent is to not catch the other animals. Their intent is to run faster. So they will not develop claws. They will develop hoofs. Okay. So hoof means, like, this is hoof. So horse, you will see horse feet like this. Okay, this is called hoof. This hoof may be one, or there may be 2 hoofs, or there may be three hoofs. Okay, so they will develop hoofs, a thick layer under its feet to run faster. Okay, so you will see horse feet like this. That is why horse is one of the fastest running animal. Okay, so the deers, etc., their intent is to run faster, not to catch other animals. So ungulates are those species which are having hoofs. Okay, their habitat is in grasslands, forest and mountain regions. Okay, and they are primarily herbivores, as I told you, herbivore mammals. They are the usual prey species for tigers, etc. What is their significance? They are very important for forest grasslands regeneration through seed dispersal, nutrient cycling, soil health, etc. So you can pause the video and you can see all the ungulates here. Okay. So why it is in news? Because Wildlife Institute of India and the National Tiger Conservation Authority did India's first survey of ungulates, and they are saying they are declining in Odisha, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. Okay, so that is why it is in the news. So some organizations which are in the news, mostly factual ones, many of the things we have already seen actually. CITES we have already seen. Okay, CITES headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland. It came from an IUCN resolution and became effective in 1971. India ratified in 1976. There are 185 parties. And what is the intention of CITES? It is an agreement. It is an international agreement between governments to ensure proper international trade, controlled trade in wild animals and plants, and this trade does not threaten the survival of these animals and plants. Okay, it is legally binding on parties. Okay, but does not take place the place of national laws. Countries have to pass separate laws. So we have passed this Wildlife Protection Act. Okay, we have passed the Wildlife Protection Act. So conference of parties, of course, for like every body, it has the highest decision making bodies. So we know CITES has 3 indices: Appendix 1, Appendix 2, Appendix 3. So Appendix 1 means species threatened with extinction, trade only permitted in exceptional circumstances, very high protection. Appendix 2, species not necessarily threatened with extinction, but trade is controlled, so somewhat lesser protection. Appendix 3, like see Appendix 1 to those species which are important for all the countries across the world. There may be some species which are specifically important for one particular country. It may not be a big concern for all other countries. Okay, so when one or two countries are worried about a one or two particular species, so they can request all the members of these CITES to include this, whatever the species they are worried about, in a new appendix called Appendix 3. So on request of some particular country, some animals are given special protection under Appendix 3. Okay, to control their trade. Okay. Some key initiatives of CITES, they have come up with a program called MIKE program. What is MIKE? Monitoring illegal, so MIKE, monitor illegal killing of elephants. So prevent illegal killing of elephants, there is a MIKE program. There is a CITES tree species program, so all the species which are living on trees. There is an international consortium on combating wildlife crime. Okay, and this CITES also releases a report called World Wildlife Trade. So which is associated with wildlife trade? CITES is associated with wildlife trade. Then International Union for the Protection of New Varieties of Plants. Again, it is also in Geneva, Switzerland. So there is an international union for the protection of new varieties of plants. What is new varieties of plants? See, let me tell you again one example, very important. Like, see here, you can see one previous year question on fungus. So we have seen this blue pink-tail fungus. We have seen this blue pink-tail fungus and this shuttlecock fungus. Okay. Shuttlecock mushrooms are fungus. So there is a question on this type of species also. See this in 2022, they are asking about something called Gucci, which is recently seen in news. What is it? Okay. So questions can come like this. So let me tell you about plant varieties. So what are plant varieties? See, there is rice. So among the rice is a plant. So someone developed a new variety, let's say like basmati, or there is a new concept called golden rice. So when you develop a superior version, a new variety of a regular plant, it is a new plant variety. And because it has some better features, like basmati rice is seen as somewhat premium, better for taste and usage than regular rice. So when you have a new variety of plant which is superior, seen as superior to the normal one, it is a good thing. So many companies and many individuals, etc., they will do research on many plants. They will develop new varieties, new plant varieties, because they want to cash in on it. Okay, they want to gain money from it. At the same time, traditionally our farmers also over the years, they have also developed some new techniques. So new plant varieties can also be developed through traditional ways. So here see, those people who do this research in these plant varieties purely from the commercial perspective, they are called plant breeders. They are called plant breeders. Okay, new varieties breeders. They breed for monetary commercial purposes. Then you have normal farmers. So over the years, they get this knowledge from the previous generation, they will do. Now see, the question is, if someone develops a new variety, they invest money, they do a lot of the research. So they will develop a new plant variety, it is fully their hard work. Now they will be given some IT right, okay, IP right, intellectual property right. That means only the seeds, the new seeds of the new plant variety, they have created. Now only they have the rights over the seeds. Only they can sell the seeds. Only they can put the terms and conditions for the sale of the seeds. They will be given some IP rights, okay, like copyright for singing, music, etc. So we have this IP rights, geographical indications, etc. So it is part of the broader concept. So they will have this commercial control over the seeds they are developing. That is okay. But the problem is, if I am a farmer, now I have bought a seed from this plant breeder. This year I have paid him, let's say some 1 lakh I have paid him I have brought some seeds from him. Now I will cultivate the farm crop. Now I got good crop. Now this good crop or these new grains are also the seeds. Now can I use these new seeds from my harvest as inputs for the next season? Now the problem is these plant breeders are claiming IP rights over the new seeds also. They are saying whatever we are giving, it's a one time. You cannot use the same seeds again next time without our permission. So this is a very debatable topic in the across the world. So the debatable issue here is plant breeders rights, plant breeders IP rights versus farmers interest. Every year farmer cannot buy it, okay? And there is another issue also. Traditionally, some farmers develop over the years some new plant varieties. Some private organizations project it as their research and their success. So it is also debatable issue. So if you see in international plant varieties theme, there is an issue of balancing plant breeders' rights versus farmer rights. You can see Western countries especially, they are not very pro-farmer, they are already developed countries, farmers are very rich. So the IP regime, the laws in those countries are more pro-plant breeders. They are supporting the plant breeders. They are supporting more research and innovation. But in India, agriculture is a very sensitive topic, so many millions of farmers. So in India, we try to balance these two, okay? That means we will allow, if a farmer buys seeds from him, next year he is allowed to sow his own seeds. No need to buy from the plant breeder again, okay? So that is the whole news. Now we are talking about the international union which is for the protection of new varieties of plants. It is established in the 1961 in Geneva, Switzerland. Now the function is grant breeders' rights, IP right, to incentivize development of new improved plant varieties for agriculture and food security. There is a convention from 1991. It strengthens breeder rights and makes the farmers' privilege optional for the member countries. So they are saying breeders definitely have rights. If you want to give any special rights to the farmers, it is up to the respective countries. Each country should decide on its own. Okay, so that is the convention because it is a very debatable topic. So based on this convention, India has passed an act called Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Authority Act 2001. And India is not a member. India is not a member to the convention. India uses its own unique law. So under this law, it protects both breeder and farmers' rights. It's not just any one person right. It is balancing both breeders and farmers' rights. So that is about the news. Moving on to the next one. So integrated biodiversity assessment tool. So let me tell you what it is. So we need data. So there are 4 international organizations: Wildlife International, Conservation International, IUCN, UN Environment Program, particularly this branch of UNEP, World Conservation Monitoring Center. So these 4 organizations came together and they have developed a new website, new tools which can be used by the organizations across the world to manage various biodiversity related initiatives. Okay, so it is founded in 2008. Okay, so it is in United Kingdom, UK. So it is a tool. They are providing tools for the assessment of biodiversity across the world for the organization. If some organization in India, it wants to calculate the number of the birds in a given area. So there will be some tools, some data, some techniques available on this website and they can use it. Now next one is NGT. So this will be one of our last one. So we have a body called, it is a statutory body called National Green Tribunal. It is established in 2010 under the NGT Act. So that is why it is statutory. Now what is its purpose? It has to decide environmental cases. So who is polluting, who is not. If there is a dispute, if there is an environmental related dispute, you have to go to NGT. Okay, no need to go to court directly. There is a dedicated organization for it. Okay, so it is a statutory and specialized body aimed at effective and expeditious disposal of cases relating to environment protection and conservation of forest and other natural resources. Headquarters is in New Delhi. There are some other branches also. You see, it is established under NGT Act, but it is also having powers under many other acts. Like under Biological Diversity Act, it has some power. Under Public Liability Insurance Act, Environmental Protection Act, Air Pollution Act, Forest Conservation Act, Water Cess Act, Water Act. So it has to ensure its judgments are following all of these acts. All the provisions in these acts are upheld by its judgments. Okay. It derives from powers from multiple acts. Any dispute related to any of these things, it will adjudicate. Okay. So powers has power of a civil court, like a civil court it has, but it is not followed, it is not bound by these processes. It is guided by the principles of natural justice. Legally, it is mandated to dispose applications within 6 months of filing. If you file a complaint, NGT is mandated to dispose within 6 months. Any member who is appointed for NGT usually holds office for 5 years. He is not eligible for reappointment. Usually, the chairperson of the NGT is Judge of Supreme Court or Chief Justice of High Court. So, orders of NGT are not binding. It can review its own judgments, or if you are not satisfied with NGT, you can appeal to Supreme Court. Okay, but practically Supreme Court, everyone guides them. You first go to High Court and then come to me. But if you talk strict rule NGT, then you can go to Supreme Court. So now we are talking about something called Global Forest Resources Assessment. Forest resources across the world are being assessed, and the report is released by Food and Agriculture Organization (FAO), and it is done every 5 years. Okay. So there is something called Group on Earth Observations. So there is a group of countries and many agencies. They have formed something called Group on Earth Observation. So they will observe Earth through various initiatives, waters, wetlands, forest of Earth. So under this there is a program called Global Forest Observations Initiative. So when this Global Forest Observation Initiative meeting is happening in Indonesia, during that meeting, that plenary, they have released this Global Forest Resource Assessment. You see here in this Global Forest Resources Assessment, the data they are giving across the world, across the globe, 32% of the land area is being occupied by forest. Okay, ideally we need 33%. We have 32%. If you talk about India, our Indian State of Forest report tells about India is roughly having 24% of forest area of its land. So nearly half of the world's forests are located in tropics, followed by boreal forest, temperate and subtropical domains. So boreal forests are this like northern Russia, Siberia. Here we will see this boreal forest. Europe has the largest forest area, accounting for 25% of world's totals. See, very shocking. You will not expect Europe to have the world's largest forest area. Why this is happening? Because they are counting Russia inside the Europe, and Russia has so much of boreal forest. Okay. So because they have included Russia in the Europe, it is accounting for 20% of world's total. So India's forest extent, India is in 9th position in terms of total forest area globally. So previously it was 10th. Now the forest area in India has increased. Now it has moved up 1 rank to 9th position. If you talk about in percentage of area, we hold 2% of total forest area in the world. If you talk about rubber plantation, we are 5th in the world. Okay. So this is about the Global Forest Resources Assessment. So we have completed this biodiversity section, which is the most difficult one, most boring one actually. So now we have moved on to this climate change part, which would be very interesting. Okay. So from now on, classes will move a bit faster. So we have finished this total biodiversity section. We have finished it till here. So let us start from climate change in our next class. So from here we will move it very fast. Climate change, pollution, sustainable development, etc. Okay. Thank you.